Good morning. Hello. Happy Tuesday. How are you doing? My goodness, it's good to see the sun shining at last. It's been the rainiest school holidays, which is not good, is it? It's not good to try and entertain the children when there is literally, you know, the heavens have opened. So I am here today to talk about something super important. At whatever stage you are at, whether you are watching because you are considering becoming a hypnobirthing teacher and you're like, how will I make this work? I've got a very busy life. Or perhaps you're already a hypnobirthing teacher and you know that sometimes it feels like time is not on your side and you would love to either have more time or use your time better. Good morning, Rebecca. Lovely to see you. Oh, thank you. And morning, Ashley. Just back from a week off. Oh, sorry, my husband just rang me then. That's a bit odd. I've just rejected his call, but I hope it wasn't anything important. Just back for a week off everything, and I don't want to get back to normality. Oh, I know that feeling. Totally know that feeling. Morning, Amy. Lovely to see you. And morning, Holly, too. So, yes, do say hello if you're watching, even if you're watching on the replay. Morning, Emily. Lovely to see you. And Julia, too. Fabulous. Right, I want to hear if you have ever... If you feel like any of these statements apply to you, it might be several of these statements, it might be one in particular, okay? Drop me in the comment which of these apply to you. I've labelled them A, B, C, D, okay? So, A, okay? Have you ever said, my life is just so busy, I don't even have a couple of hours for my hypnobirthing business? Have you ever said that? That's A. B, I have some time, but when I sit down, I just don't know where to start. So B is, I do have some time, but when I sit down, I just don't know where to start. C is, I plan time, but something always comes up instead. Okay, so C is, I plan in time to work on my business, but something comes up instead pretty much all the time. And D, I have quite a bit of time to spend on my business, but I just feel like I never get anything productive done. So D is, I have quite a bit of time on my business, but I just feel like I never get anything productive done. So Amy is B, Rebecca is D. Amy says I spend too much time faffing. Please let me know which of those apply to you because it really helps me see where everybody is with this, okay? And hopefully as well, it helps you to see that if you are very much an A or a B and you feel like you really lack time, like actually sometimes getting time doesn't make things that much better because we've got a few people in the comments saying D, they have time but they still don't feel like they're getting anywhere, okay? So why am I talking about this morning? Well, I know as business owners and particularly women in business, we can almost use the time card as almost like, and I say this with so much love and say this with understanding that I have been there too, but using it as a bit of an excuse, a bit of a, oh gosh, there's a plumber here now, my morning. Oh God. Right, okay, just hold that thought, I won't be a minute. Right, it's just in here. He's trying to mess with it, but it won't flush. Right. Alright, sorry, it's only a little in there. Right. Right, I'm just going to go finish this. Okay. Give me a shout if you need me. Oh, thank you for staying with me. My goodness. Right. Shut that door. Turn the lights on. Right, I'm back. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for staying with me. It would have been easy, wouldn't it, to have ended that live there, but no, I'm honouring my time that I've set aside for this. So, anyway, what was I saying? Okay. So, I've lost my train of thought. Yes, as women, we can often use it as an excuse, and we can always think, it'll be fine when, you know? Have you ever felt like that? Like, actually, you know, maybe in 6 months I'll have more time and then I'll have success in my business. I've definitely been there for sure. Now, I want to tell you a bit of my story with time, because I know some of you have only, you know, recently found me. So you've not seen my journey over the last 8 years. Like, ultimately, when I started my hypnobirthing business, I had a nearly 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, okay? That's how I started my business, and I had 0 childcare, okay? A husband that was very busy at work, and very much the time I spent on my business were bits and bats, mostly whilst they were napping in the car, and then maybe a bit of an evening time too, okay? In terms of more recently, of course, it's changed massively over the years. There's been times when I've got a bit of childcare, and then I've had another baby, and that's been like gone. And yeah, like it's massively varied. But throughout those years, unless I was on maternity leave, I have always made sure I have had time on my business. So my first thing that I want to talk about is not actually how you create more time. Well, we can't, can we? Okay. We can decide how we use our time and use it better, but we can't magic more time, okay? So I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about how can we make sure we are making our businesses a priority. Let's not hobby zone it, you know? How often can we put it in the zone of a hobby, the way we talk about it to other people, so it's dead easy to be like, oh, well, you know, it's a bit like a hobby. I do it when I fancy, and if I haven't got the energy or the motivation, I just don't do it. We don't want to be like that, because what is the alternative? Like, if this isn't a success, you go to a job where there's no choice when you work and when you don't work. So actually, the first step in all of this is 100% taking your business seriously. Yourself, and then other people will too. And I've been there over the years, frustrated that people in my family, people in my home, my husband even, didn't take my business seriously. And I felt peed off by that. Looking back, where was that coming from? It was actually coming from the way that I spoke about it, you know? If we don't talk about things like they're a big deal, why would anybody else think they're a big deal? Why would anybody else respect the time that we want to spend, okay, or need to spend building this thing up? So first step is 100% making sure you take your business seriously. Make sure that you keep that motivation there. You see the bigger vision, you see where you're going, both for the people that you work with, but for you as a family. You know, you make that front of mind so that you always take action. Okay, first step, that has to be there. Okay. Second tip. Okay. No idea what I said through the window. Oh my God. What is going on? I'm sat in this boiling hot kitchen because the Arga is on doing a live and these men rustling about in the toilet. What the hell? Right. Okay. Number two. Secondly, okay. really think about whether you are planning in time. And you know what? I know some of you might be thinking, oh, but my time is, so busy with children, maybe a day job, whatever it might be, okay? But what pocket of time, and literally it could be an hour, could you plan into your week that you ring fence as time working on your business? Not dealing with clients that you already have, but doing stuff that pushes your business forward, okay? Now, whatever pocket of time you have, and it might literally be an hour a week, okay? It might be 2 hours a week. It might be one evening a week. Whatever it may be, you make sure that the people in your life know about that and respect that time. Because I know some of you said that you do have time, but something always comes up. And you know what? Sometimes life happens, doesn't it? But sometimes we're almost ready for a distraction, okay? So, and Rebecca's just said, Abby, it would be great to know your schedule looks like. I know it'd be different to ours, but just for guidance, okay? So Rebecca, I do not work full time. I never intend to, okay? So I have working days, which are Monday to Thursday when the children are at school. And I literally do some work in between 9:30 and 2:30. But you know what? I do it every day, but there's certain things that are non-negotiables, and that's what I'm saying about ring fencing this time. So on a Monday, when the kids are at school, my routine is that I drive to Starbucks, it's got decent Wi-Fi, and I sit there for 2 to 3 hours, and my goodness, because it's ring fenced in, there's no distractions, there's no washing to do in Starbucks, is there? They're going to take care of all that for me. So therefore, like, my productivity is so much more than if I sat at home. Many other days I do sit at home, and yeah, sometimes I'll have a little nap, it's okay. Sometimes I get tempted to watch a bit of telly, catch up with Downton Abbey. Yeah, it's fine. But I make sure that certain parts of my time are ring fenced. This bit on a Tuesday, my weekly content goes out regardless. But that has only come from me setting it as a plan and ensuring that I communicate with other people that this is super important. And I know you might be thinking, well, isn't that easy for you in your relationship because you're probably earning quite well now, okay? And yeah, at the moment, I actually earn more than my partner through my business, my husband. I haven't got a partner and a husband, just my husband. And yeah, that makes it easier, doesn't it, to kind of say, I need valuable time on my business too. But it wasn't always like that. Oh my gosh. For years, of course, he was the main earner. And I still had to communicate that I need time on my business. And if I hadn't have done that, even at times where, my income was far less than him, would I be here now doing what I'm doing? No, like, sometimes we need the time before, like, we've got the reward. So yeah, I hope that is useful. So having some golden time. When can your golden time be? When can it be where it is solely dedicated to working on doing something that is getting your business more known, getting your business more clients? Okay, when can that time be? Now, within that, what can you do to make sure that time is not spent doing other stuff? Okay, well, firstly, consider your environment. Okay, so for example, I said I take myself away. I know if I'm sat here, I'm going to be thinking about things that need cleaning. The temptation to mop the floor is just too much some days, So taking myself away means I've got that non-distracting area, okay? At times when I do work at home, I do have a whiz around clean, make it feel like a nice place to work. And I know I can do that, you know, within half an hour, and then I haven't got distractions on my mind. Okay, now that might not be important to you, and that's fine. But for me, I just can't sit at a table knowing that there's some pots over there. Okay. Steph says, cannot relate to the temptation to mop the floor. Well, I'll have to tell you a story about this, but it turns out my temptation to mop the floor constantly was related to having anemia. Who knew? But anyway, so my desire has gone less. Now I'm on iron tablets. But yeah, I think I had pica. If anyone doesn't know what that is, have a look, because I wanted to lick stones and everything. But anyway, that's the story for another time, isn't it? Going back to this, what can you do, okay, to make your environment as work-friendly as possible? Now, there is even studies to show that when you work and there is a phone, as in your mobile phone, in your vicinity, you are so much less productive. Can you relate? Yes, I can relate. So even if you're not actually on that phone, it's there. You may be thinking about what's at the other side of the screen. You know, you are less productive. Okay. So what can you do to make that a fun and distraction-free zone? How often do you go on with the intention of creating something in Canva, and you end up in the Facebook app scrolling, and then you end up on Marketplace and you've nearly bought yourself a new plant pot? Yeah? Or then you end up on Rightmove because you remember that your friends put their house up for sale and you want a little nosy at that house. And then you think, I wonder what kind of kittens are selling lately. And you end up on Pets for Homes, you know? So you go in with one intention and you end up doing several things that actually cost you 45 minutes. Number one tip is do work on a desktop, laptop, computer, whatever, instead, if you can. Investing in a decent laptop was one of the best things that I did because it keeps me from working on my phone, which is just a distracting place to be, and it is not good for my headspace, okay? Now, this next thing, I'm absolutely boiling. You can probably see like the sweat pouring off me from this hot room. We can't open the door because the kitten will run off. So, next thing I want to talk about, which is often overlooked when people talk about time management, and this is, okay, you're an unofficial ADHD coach too. Oh, really? Who knew? So, the next thing that I want to talk about is this, okay? It is not just that pocket of time that matters. Now, have you had a couple of hours doing something, working on your business there, and you have been super inspired, super productive, and got like 10 times the amount of stuff done, yeah? And then you've had other times where you are distracted, where you just can't think of ideas, okay? I know that can be me too. And you know what I know? I know that those times where I am like struggling to be motivated, struggling to be creative, struggling to even think about what I need to do, is often when my energy has been taken by so many other things, okay? Now, interestingly, my training business, so training people to be hypnobirthing teachers, is coming up to 3 years old because I started creating that in the first ever lockdown. And I think that is why I was able to do it quite efficiently. Yeah, I was at home with 4 children, okay? But the mental load during those lockdowns was dramatically reduced. I didn't have to think about getting kids' uniforms ready. I didn't have to think about packed lunches. I didn't have to think about what our plans were for the weekend. I didn't have to think about keeping the house really nice in case someone popped round. Like all that mental load was gone. You know, the only thing that I needed to think about was our 1 hour a day walk and what we were going to buy at the supermarket. Literally, that was my mental load. And I really think that made my productivity so much higher. Does anybody relate? Not necessarily to the COVID thing, but to this thing about the mental load. Often, I know there's a lot of people watching here that are parents. Often as mothers in particular, the mental load is huge, isn't it? You know, my kids are out today. They've gone out with Adam, but I'm still thinking, oh my God, have they taken a coat? It looks like it's going to rain. You know, all these thoughts going round my head that perhaps maybe my husband doesn't have, you know? And then when it comes to sit down to work, you're almost already burnt out by all this like mental, you know, mind stuff that's been going on. Okay. How can you reduce that? Okay. How can you maintain your energy so that when you do sit down to do some work, you are in a great place? Okay, Anne says mental load is huge and phone distraction. Absolutely. Yeah, add into this, like, you know, I talked about making decisions for your family and all that, but also the mental load of you've gone for a scroll on social media and there's been a post and it's been a bit triggering and made you feel a certain way about what you do, and you've taken that, you know? So how can you decrease that mental load? Okay, and there'll be some things that you just can't, won't there? You know, I'm not saying don't worry about your kids having clothes, you know, but what can you do? So for me, it absolutely is about being mindful about when I am aimlessly scrolling on social media, because I find that there's a mental load that comes with that. Seeing other businesses, you know, seeing other messages that perhaps are different to mine, and it makes me think, oh my God, is what I'm saying right? How can I decrease that? Well, I can actively, you know, check in on how much I'm using it. Big tip that I have recently done, I think I did it by accident. You know, on an iPhone, if anybody's got an iPhone, I mean, this is probably the same for Android phones and things like that. You've got your screen, haven't you, with all your apps, and I've got a lot of apps, okay? I literally moved my Facebook app into a different place. I use Facebook so much less now, because you know what the mind is like. You know, we do so many things unconsciously, don't we? This unconscious process of you go on your phone to find out what time it is, you end up on Facebook, move your app, and, you know, you can't, like, quickly find it. You have to be conscious to find it. So regularly move your apps and you won't be in a scroll hole all the time, and it will decrease your mental load. The first ever investment that I ever made into my business was not a business investment, and it was out of my own cash, not business money, and that was getting a weekly cleaner. You're probably thinking, well, what has that got to do with, you know, your business? Well, having that cleaner once a week, okay, doing the bathrooms, doing everything, means that there are several hours a week that I'm not doing that. And also the feeling, she does it on a Monday too, so on my Starbucks day, I come back and I feel light, like everything's perfect, you know? Everything's perfect, my headspace is clearer as a result of that cleaning. Doesn't mean that I never do cleaning, because of course, you know, it's a busy house, but that helps massively. One day I would absolutely love to have a cleaner 2 days a week that also deals with laundry, because I find laundry, like sorting, washing out, I don't iron, but even sorting, washing out for a family of 6 feels a big mental load. How have I helped that in the meantime? Well, me and my husband do it together. I'm not doing it on my own, you know? That has helped my mental load. Have you ever heard that Steve Jobs wears the same outfit over and over again? And I'm not saying you should do that. Maybe I do this. Am I always in this dress of my lives? But why does he wear the same outfit over and over again? To stop decision fatigue, you know? He doesn't have to get up on a morning and be like, oh, what should I wear? Like, he's cutting that decision-making thing out of his day. Therefore, he has more energy. He's got more mental space for other things. How can you cut that decision, those decisions that are trivial, but actually take a lot of the mental load, okay? One thing for me is evening meals. Oh my God, like, I have definitely been in the position of getting to evening and being like, I can't even make a decision about what we're going to eat. And then what happens? We call a takeaway and have something that was actually really gross, you know? That is because I'm not helping myself have more space, yeah? But also that forward planning, you know, that forward planning, yeah, it helps you feel good in your home, but that massively impacts your business. That mental space we absolutely need when we are working on our business, okay? So as much as those tips, okay, are not, you know, directly about your business, but you are the heartbeat of your business, aren't you? And if you are feeling weighted down, how everything else goes will be affected, okay? So think about how you can lighten the load for yourself so that you have more energy for your business, okay? I really hope that was useful and gets you thinking about what simple things you can do. Start small. So the first thing that I ever did was saying to my husband, we need to sort this washing out together. I find it too overwhelming. He wasn't suddenly going to come home and be like, hello, darling, do you want me to help you with the washing this evening? He don't talk like that at all. He was never going to do that. You have to ask. And, you know, I am someone who struggles with asking help. I am working on getting better at asking for help, you know? This summer holiday, I was very much in a position of, who's helping me with the kids? No one's helping me with the kids. It's like hard work, trying to run everything. And someone said to me, have you asked your mum if you'll have them one day a week? And I was like, no, but she's not offered. You know, like, let's not be mad with people for not doing things that we haven't asked for. What help can you ask for? You know, and this goes back to my very first point, valuing your business and showing it's important, and other people will think that too. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is multitasking. Okay, now I bet you're going to think that I'm going to say, want to be more productive, do more multitasking. Well, actually, I'm going to say the opposite. Like, we often pride ourselves on multitasking, but multitasking, oh my goodness, burns that energy, doesn't it? That mental space. It can add stress, you know? Like me then trying to do a live when there's people hovering about in the loo. You know, like, it makes us feel stressed. We're not creative, we're not our best when we are thinking about several things all at once. And I know that women often pride themselves on being excellent multitaskers. Now, I know for many people here, multitasking will be a necessity. It has been for me too, okay? There were times in my business that I wouldn't have got anything done if I'd not done a bit of multitasking. So I'm not saying never multitask. I'm saying really think about what things can be done, you know, alongside something else, and what things are actually not gonna be great and it's actually gonna like stress you out. So for example, I know that anything like writing posts, writing like marketing stuff, I cannot do if I am multitasking. So if the kids are around and asking me for crisps and stuff every 2 minutes, I really struggle to do anything that involves like creative thinking. What I can do when the kids are around is I can answer a few emails, you know? I can listen to some podcasts. I can do things like that, but the creative stuff, I need my ring-fenced time, okay? So really think about, where are you multitasking? Is that the best plan? How can you have more like dedicated to the time to the things that need your full attention, okay? You know, and on that note, it's really thinking about, okay, really thinking about priorities. Sometimes the reason we don't get as much done as we think we should is because we have put too much on our to-do list. Oh my God, if you saw the things that I want to do, you know, the things that I know I need to tweak and do and, you know, get done, you'd be like, oh my God, Abby, you know, close those 7 pages of your book, okay? But I also know that not all of those things need to be done now, okay? What is going to move the needle? When I first became a hypnobirthing teacher, I wanted to create all my own resources right away. However, that would have taken me weeks, and it would never have been to the standard I wanted it to be, because I didn't have the experience of teaching the clients at that point. So actually, even though the book that I had to give at the time wasn't what I really wanted to give, I stuck with it. I made a few accompanying notes on Microsoft Word, okay? And instead, I spent my time doing the things that were going to push the needle forward, actually getting the clients. That was my priority in those early days of building my business. So what things do you have on your list that can be for next year? You know, that you can actually cross off your list and put on another list that you're not even going to look at until 2024. Because actually it's sat there on your list is probably just like almost taunting you and making you feel far too overwhelmed to ever get anything done. So number one things that should be on everyone's list is being visible, doing something every week to be seen by potential clients. That might be utilising social media. That might be making your website better. But visibility is the thing that is going to help you get the clients of the future, okay? Tweaking your resources is not going to help you get clients, okay? And sometimes that is more from a place of perfectionism, okay? Know that you can do that one day, but right now, as you get your business really growing, getting more visible is going to really help you do that, okay? So be careful what you prioritize. Really look at that list and think, out of those things, if I can only focus on 2, what 2 is it going to be? Look, I'll repeat that again. Look at your list and think, if I can only do 2 of those things, what are those 2 things going to be? Because we can't do it all. Also ask yourself, what do I need to do to create more space for my business? What do I need to do to create more space for my business? And like I said earlier, this isn't necessarily having more time, more space. You know, how can you have more energy, more headspace for it? What do you need to do? Because there will be simple actions that you can take to help you have more space. So for me, it's getting better at asking for help. Not feeling like I'm the only person that can do everything. maybe your business is in a position where actually a great use of your money, well, some of your money, would be actually outsourcing certain things. You could pay a virtual assistant maybe £25 an hour to do some tasks in your business that would maybe take you several hours. They do it day in, day out, so they're quick at it, efficient. And that creates that headspace. It means that you can focus on the bigger things in your business, the things that only you can do. Like create content with your stories. They can't do that for you. But they can do more of the techie things that keep us stuck and eat away that like mental space. Now, if you're at the very first, year or so of your business, maybe you're not ready for that yet. And that's okay. Okay. But in that case, really think about what your priorities are. Now, my favourite quote to do with time management and things like that is that the bad news is that time flies. Yeah? We can be sat here in 3 months, can't we, in the same place and being like, oh my God, how has 3 months gone? The good news is that you're the pilot. You're the pilot. You get to decide how you use that time. And remember, the whole purpose of using your time more effectively in your business is so that you get to do more of what you love. The reason that I want success in my business is because of this ripple effect, yeah, but it's so that I can be home with my children when I need to be. It's so I can create memories with my children so that I don't have the stress in my life of juggling, all sorts of childcare. I don't want that, So I manage my time effectively so I get that reward. Okay. You really don't have to spend full-time hours on your business. Quite frankly, if I had full-time hours on my business, I don't know what I'd do in that time. I don't need that amount of time in my business, okay? But I do need to prioritize doing the things that are going to make a difference. And I need to remember to prioritize my own mental space, okay? So I would love to hear, as always, what your key takeaways have been from this. Then I'm going to have to get a cold shower, I think. It's blooming boiling in here. So let me know in the comments what your number one takeaway has been from this. Even better if you can tell me what you're going to do off the back of it. What are you going to do? Write it down on this video. It gives you the accountability to actually do it. Okay. If you're watching this as an aspiring hypnobirthing teacher, someone who's been thinking about training as a hypnobirthing teacher, okay, next week on Monday, I've got an event running, a free event for an hour on Zoom where you can find out more about my training. I'll post the link afterwards. It would be lovely to see you there. So Rebecca says, going to prayer every week. Absolutely. And on that note, before you get there, decide what you're going to do. Decide what your priorities are going to be. Steph says, tell my husband what I need, what help I need. Yeah, absolutely. And as well, like you said, what help you need. Not that you need help. Like, be specific. Like, yeah, we can't be frustrated at someone for not helping us when they don't know we need help. Absolutely. Claire says, dedicated time slot, love that. Jill's going to Starbucks too, fab. Holly says, definitely asking for help from my partner and family. I always say I have to do everything in the house, but I have no idea where that came from, as my partner is always happy to help. 100%, like that's absolutely the same with my husband, and I'll be like, oh, I have to do everything, but yeah, like they're often happy to help but don't know how to. And I know we could be like, well, they should know, it's their house. but is that going to change anything, you know? So yeah, love that, Holly. Emily says, cold shower. Ring fencing time to do the mundane tasks, reducing the mental load like meal planning. Love that. Julia says, take myself out of the house, away from distractions. Honestly, Julia, let me know how it goes. But my guess is that you'll get 5 times as much done in 2 hours somewhere else than you would at home. Ashley says, this has been so useful. Abby, thank you. You are so welcome. Emily says, yes, about helping in the house with husband. Rory always helps, but I feel the same. Fair play is on my reading list. Oh, I've not heard of this one. So I'm assuming that's about, oh my God, look how sweaty I am. I was assuming that's about like the sharing the load in the home, and yeah, different roles. Fabulous. Right, I have loved being on. I don't know where the plumbers have gone. I don't know what's gone on. I am so grateful that you stuck with me through all of the chaos going on here. And I shall be here next week with something different. It's all about splitting the mental load. That sounds so useful. I'm definitely going to look at that book. You are so welcome, Rebecca. Right, if you have enjoyed this video, please do click the like or love button because it does help more people see it. If you're an aspiring hypnobirthing teacher, I shall see you next week at my free event. It's on Zoom, so sign up so that you get sent the link. I shall see you all later. Take care. Bye.